Hello everyone, my name is Pixlriffs and welcome back to the Minecraft Survival Guide. I hope you guys are having a good day. Today, we're going to head back into the Nether and we're going to take a comprehensive look at one of the brand new features of the Nether update, one of the brand new mobs that has been added to Minecraft, the humble Piglin. And Piglins are something we have tackled in previous episodes, but we are going to go in depth today. We're going to teach you the ins and outs of these guys, and I don't mean the zombified kind who we are all fairly familiar with at this point. I mean the unzombified Piglin, the Piglins who you'll see wandering around the Nether wastes with a little bit more life in their eyes. And even if, like me, you have not started a brand new world in 1.16 or you have not deleted a substantial portion of your Nether, you will find these guys hanging around any biomes that already exist as Nether Waste. So any of the old Nether terrain will basically have been rebranded as Nether Waste. I'm going to pop my gold helmet on with this guy because he does seem quite intent on attacking me. Nope, there we go. He's all fine. You will find Piglins in Nether Wastes. You will also find them in Crimson Forest biomes and in their structures, the Bastions. And we're going to go step by step through the process of interacting with these guys because there is more to them than initially meets the eye. First of all, there are a couple of different Piglins you will encounter. There are adults and there are babies, and usually they come equipped with either a gold sword or a crossbow. There is a third Piglin who is not currently in the game, so I can't demonstrate it for you, but there is going to be a third Piglin called a Piglin Brute that is going to be spawning in certain rooms of Bastions, has a slightly different outfit, and wields a gold axe, and they are going to be hostile to you no matter what, but we will cover those when the update comes out that introduces them into Minecraft Java Edition. For now, we're just going to be focusing on these guys and what they do. Now, unlike their zombified equivalents, regular Piglins will be hostile to you, as we saw, unless you are equipped with a piece of gold armor. And it's just one piece of gold armor that is necessary, and it doesn't matter what piece it is, whether it's a helmet, some boots, a chest plate, or some leggings, they are going to recognize that as you being somewhat friendly, or at least they're going to consider you valuable enough not to immediately slaughter. Personally, I've gone with a gold helmet because I am more comfortable having a very durable set of boots for feather falling. Exploring the Nether can get a little bit treacherous, and you don't want to fall down a gap and find that your gold boots broke a little bit earlier in your Nether exploring adventure, whereas a helmet is sort of disposable. You're not going to be using enchantments like Aqua Affinity and Respiration when you're swimming around lava lakes. Instead, I think the helmet is probably a good choice of what to wear for Piglins. Of course, you could choose leggings, but leggings provide the most armor out of anything, and the boots provide a little bit less armor than a helmet does, but I have a feeling that you're going to be needing those boots here and there anyway. Plus, boots have the capacity for the new Soul Speed enchantment, which we are going to be talking about, but in a later video. Now, one of the other things it's important to note about Piglins is that they will attack you if you open a container near them, and the container can be a variety of things. It doesn't matter whether it is a chest, an ender chest, a shulker box, or a barrel. They will attack you for opening it because they think you are stealing from them specifically. And the problem with this is that often in the Nether there are lots of blocks that you end up getting loads of netherrack and stuff like that. You want to be able to put it away somewhere. If a Piglin is nearby and sees you opening a chest to put the netherrack in, they're going to assume that you are taking the contents of that chest. Likewise, if you break a chest, and the same goes for the chests that appear in their Bastions as well, if you just break them instead of opening them, the Piglins are still going to get mad at you, and they can hear the chest breaking noise through walls, so they will get even more mad at you simply because they think you are breaking the chest instead of opening it and peeking through. Here's another quick example for you. You will see that I've got my gold helmet on, so those Piglins are currently behaving neutral to me, and in fact they are currently getting a little bit scared by the amount of zombified Piglins that are nearby. So let's wait for him to stop running. I'll pop down this shulker box somewhere nearby. Take a look at this. I open this up. That Piglin immediately becomes hostile to me, draws his crossbow, and starts firing because I've opened up a shulker box that I have just placed down, and it doesn't even have any contents. So they are a little bit protective of anything with an inventory opening animation and anything like that that can be broken. However, as we saw in the episode in which we raided Bastions, they have no problem with you opening redstone components that have an inventory. And so if you end up with a hopper, for example, draining some stuff out of their nearby chests, you can open the hopper, close the hopper, even break the hopper, and they will not mind. The same goes for dispensers and droppers, which do not have an opening animation, and which the Piglins don't seem to have any trouble with you breaking. So I think those might be worthwhile containers to have around if you plan on making an exposed storage system somewhere in the Nether. It might be a little bit less inventory space though, so you might want to consider automating your storage so you can just chuck stuff in instead of opening chests if you want the piglins to stay neutral to you while you're doing it. Piglins do not stray too far from their zombified brethren in that if you attack one of them, others in the area will get angry at you. But the difference here is that they do not chain aggro in the same sort of way. A lot of the times, their fellow piglins will join the hunt, but you'll notice this guy on the left here, notice his friend attacking me. He is looking over at the other piglin just because of social behaviors, but they're not ganging up on me at any point. However, if I kill that guy in plain sight of his friend, you'll see that he instantly becomes angry to me because they now consider me a threat. You'll also notice that piglins aren't really dropping anything particularly exciting. I've got a couple of cooked pork chops that might have been in one of their inventories from a hoglin hunt or something like that, and then a crossbow that is half broken. They do not drop the same gold items that zombified pigmen do, so we are going to be considering these guys a little bit less useful than zombified pigmen in terms of drops and what we can farm from them. With that said though, the piglins are kind of the villagers of the Nether in that they can be traded with, and over the next portion of the video we're going to be figuring out exactly what they can trade us, how frequently they can trade us, what they want to trade, and how we can automate this process to our advantage. But first, because it doesn't happen all that often, we're going to try and take a look at the interactions between piglins and the new hoglins. Of course, right now I'm wearing my gold helmet, so the piglins aren't going to be aggressive to me, but hoglins will always be aggressive towards players and will try and attack players if they feel like they are a threat. Piglins and hoglins have a kind of ecosystem that exists between them, where the piglins, if there are large enough numbers of them, will actually hunt down the hoglins if they feel like they have the advantage in terms of numbers. So you'll have a group of piglins will usually attempt to attack. You'll also find that the baby piglins and the baby hoglins interact, and occasionally, yep, there we go, I think a hunt is starting. There you go. This piglin over here felt like it might have had the advantage with the other piglins around, but now it is retreating because the hoglins have it outnumbered. There we go, and you saw the piglin did not exactly win. Nevertheless, the baby piglin is still going to try and, yep, there we go, we caught one riding. Let me see if I can zoom in a little bit since we don't have Optifine available right now, and the baby piglins will actually ride the baby hoglins, and you'll find that several of the baby piglins can actually get up onto a baby hoglin's back, and they start to ride around stacked up, which is really adorable to see if you can capture it on camera. Piglins and wither skeletons are also mortal enemies, and so if you find the two of them rarely intersecting in the same place, they will typically fight. However, this wither skeleton seems quite keen on attacking me, and the piglin seems quite keen on getting away from the zombie piglin. Therefore, they're in a bit of a stalemate right now. They don't really seem to want to interact with each other at all. However, once the zombified piglins are out of the way, you will find that piglins and wither skeletons will happily fight each other, even if the two of them are a little bit accident prone. Piglins are also not immune to fire, which is a considerable weakness here in the Nether, since fire is basically everywhere and can be started anywhere at any time if you have a flint and steel on you. You'll also find ghasts and blazes and other mobs in the Nether will attack with fire, meaning that piglins can be very vulnerable. But their greatest weakness is perhaps also their greatest strength. They are very fond of gold, and if I drop a gold item on the ground here, this piglin is going to walk towards it and pick it up basically instantly, although it won't give you anything for any items other than gold ingots. You can drop a gold block on the ground if you want to, and the piglin will still come running for it. They will assess it for a second, and then they will just put it away, which is unfortunate if you accidentally drop a block of gold around them. So much like foxes picking up items, you have to be a little bit careful about these guys. However, if we attack this guy and kill him, I am going to get the gold block and the gold nugget I dropped back. Piglins basically have 8 hidden inventory spaces where they can store items like this, and if they exceed those maximum inventory spaces, they will drop something else in order to pick up the new thing, and then they will probably pick up the thing they just dropped, and the cycle just kind of continues over and over again. Now, it's when we start to drop gold ingots for these guys that the magic starts happening, because one of the piglins will run over, pick up the gold and assess it, and then, if we are lucky, they will throw something else on the ground that is of value to us, like, for example, a potion of fire resistance, the perfect thing to have handy when you are exploring the Nether, perhaps for the first time. And there are a variety of things that piglins will barter for full gold ingots like this. The little ones will also run over and attempt to assess the gold, but the little ones cannot throw you anything. They don't have anything to trade. That guy just gave me some nether bricks. So again, there are some items that are going to be more valuable than others to the player, but it really depends what your priorities are. And it's not always the first piglin to run over and pick up the gold nugget who gets to handle it. So let's see what this guy gives me. Some glowstone dust. Once again, a renewable source of glowstone outside of witch farms, which is a very exciting thing to have. So after bartering gold ingots with piglins for the last little while, these are the items I've acquired so far. I traded about 16 gold ingots, and we got ourselves some nether bricks, some fire charges, nether quartz, a potion of fire resistance, a bit of soul sand and gravel, which makes gravel a renewable resource for basically the first time, some obsidian, leather, glowstone dust, magma cream, and string. All resources that could be reasonably acquired in the nether, but certainly some very, very useful stuff here. Consider that obsidian is something that can be very, very useful to you if you get stranded in the nether. Just chuck a little bit of gold at these piglins and you might have enough to build yourself another nether portal if you didn't bring the supplies with you initially. Consider also that fire charges can be used to light that nether portal if you need it, and they have a bunch of other stuff that they are willing to trade if you put in the time. In fact, some of the items we can get from bartering with piglins are so useful that I think it justifies making a little farming setup where we can potentially throw gold ingots to these guys in perpetuity in order to acquire a lot of resources. And personally, I'm in it just for the gravel so we can get some more concrete powder on the go, but I think these guys have even more riches that they can sell to us. Now, unfortunately, if you're playing Minecraft Java Edition, any information you might have about piglins bartering with you for netherite scraps and even netherite tools is sadly a thing of the past. It was part of their bartering loot table in the development snapshots for Java Edition, but that has now basically been removed. Now the most exciting and unique treasure item that you can expect to get from piglin bartering is an Enchanted Book, which will give you soul speed of a level between 1 and 3. I was lucky enough to get myself a soul speed 3 enchantment, and I'm going to be applying that to my netherite boots later so that we can try that out for a separate episode and see what happens if we go at ludicrous speed on soul sand. But for now, I think I'm going to continue bartering with these piglins and seeing if I can get anything else. Now, before we go any further into bartering and how we can automate that process, I have come out to the Soul Sand Valley, one of Minecraft's new, more treacherous biomes, and I am looking in particular for blocks like this. Soul Sand and Soul Soil are going to be especially useful when interacting with piglins, and especially if you are running from them, because potentially there is the chance to scare off piglins using the brand new interaction between these blocks and fire. Because piglins are afraid of a couple of things, and soul fire is one of them. You'll notice this piglin isn't really reacting much to the soul fire right now, so I think while it is supposed to retreat, it does take them a couple of seconds, and I think they are more instantly scared by zombified piglins around here. But I think if we make ourselves some soulfire torches using the soul soil, we might find slightly different results. Soulfire torches can be made in a 3x3 crafting grid, and they are a shaped recipe, meaning that you will not be able to craft this in a 2x2 any other way. You need a block of soul soil, a stick, and a piece of coal in much the same way as you would make a torch, but with a block of soul soil underneath it like that. That will net you 4 soul torches, which can also be made into soul campfires if you have some logs and stuff on you. Surrounding one with iron ingots will also get you a blue soul lantern, and I think these are going to look fantastic in some of the builds we'll be making over the next little while, but it will also scare off piglins if placed nearby. They'll take a second or two to react, but as you can see, no zombified piglins around here, and that guy ran away and kept his distance from the soul lantern. So that is really useful to have in emergency cases, or if you want to control exactly where piglins end up going. But you're not always going to have those ready in an emergency, and if a piglin becomes hostile to you while you're bartering with it, maybe you forgot to put on a gold piece of armor, or if you accidentally hit one of them or something, you're maybe going to want a way that you can run away. And if you end up throwing a gold item on the ground, the piglin is going to get distracted by it and is going to resume the bartering phase before it does anything else, meaning that they will throw an item on the ground for you, and they will probably continue racing after you after that, but by that time you've had a little bit of a chance to get away. If you get away far enough, like I did with this guy, he does seem to have forgotten about me entirely, preferring to barter a little bit more instead of continue to attack me. So, water under the bridge, I guess. And in addition to that, if you're being chased by piglins and you throw down a gold ingot, you will get the Oh Shiny advancement, which for some reason doesn't seem to work when you are wearing gold. So maybe they are meant to be distracted by the gold armor already. But if you throw down an ingot while you're not wearing gold armor, and that successfully distracts the piglins, you will get the advancement from that. Now, when the prospect of a piglin bartering hall comes up, you might expect that you would want to set one of these up in the overworld. But unfortunately, it is not really going to be the case that piglins will want to come to the overworld, and I'm hopefully trying to demonstrate why with this guy here, who is making his way over here thanks to the breadcrumb trail of gold I am leaving for him. Can he see that? No, I guess it has to be in his line of sight. Alright, buddy, come over here. See if you can grab this. If he ends up taking the bait with that last ingot there on the slab, we might also be able to nudge him in while he is contemplating the gold. Yep, there we go, and he is through. Okay, so this should lead out to the fishing shack that I set up in the overworld a little while ago, where we will see that our piglin friend is now currently surrounded by zombie piglins who've made their way through the portal. But once in the overworld, he completes his bartering, and then, after shivering and shaking for a minute or two, he becomes a zombified piglin. And that is unfortunately the case with every piglin that enters the overworld. They will zombify almost instantly and become the thing they hate the most, zombified piglins. And that is potentially an interesting thing to consider in terms of the lore of Minecraft, but an impediment to making bartering halls in the overworld. Now, as you may have heard, it is the case that you can spawn in piglins with an immune to zombification tag, which allows them to be immune to the effects of zombifying in the overworld. But to the best of my knowledge, this is only something that works with creative if you spawn the piglins in yourself. If you are doing this with naturally generated piglins, I do not believe there is a chance for them to spawn with the immune to zombification tag, which means it is not possible to transfer them to the overworld permanently. We are going to have to consider that if we want to set up a bartering trading hall style thing for them, we are going to have to do that inside the Nether. Now, one of the first steps to setting up a piglin trading hall is going to be acquiring name tags, because unfortunately, like other hostile mobs, like the zombie piglins around here, if they have the potential to be hostile, piglins will be despawned if the player gets a certain distance away. You'll notice there are a few piglins running around here happily right now. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of them. If I get about 128 blocks away, which is the distance at which mobs like that will despawn automatically, if I head back over towards that side of the Nether hub now, you will find that we maybe have a few natural spawns over here, but once again, all of the piglins that were around here have disappeared. And naturally, if conditions are right, they will respawn in some areas, but if we're going to be setting up an automatic bartering system for them, we need to make sure that they are confined, and so that they don't despawn, we will need name tags for them so that they will all stay in place. Now, thankfully, I have a bunch of name tags left over from when we made the charged creeper farm, which I could use over there, but I think for now I'm going to repurpose to trap ourselves some piglins for bartering. Now we just have to come up with the right name for them. Bart Simpson. Bartholomew? Let's go with Bartholomew. I'm also going to want to clear my inventory out a little bit here because I do not want all this clutter in my inventory while I'm setting this up, and I also don't want to have to access any of the inventories of shulker boxes and stuff that I will have brought with me, because that, as we have documented already, is going to make the piglins mad at me. So for the design I've got figured out, we're going to need a bunch of building blocks to contain the piglins. We're going to need some droppers to drop gold into their hitbox so they'll be able to pick it up and assess it. We'll bring a fair amount of gold with us, and I have a ton of gold from farming it over the last little while. So I've got ingots, I've got blocks. I'm going to bring a bunch of blocks with me, which we will then break down into ingots once we're there and distribute them amongst the droppers. I'm only going to start with 8 for now, but you can obviously expand this as much as you want to. And we've got some hoppers and chests to collect these, and also to make an Etho hopper clock, because that's going to be timing the delivery of the gold ingots. There are other ways you can do this, involving checking a comparator readout for when the piglins drop something. If they drop the item that they're bartering with you into a hopper, a comparator readout from that hopper could start a redstone pulse that will pulse the dropper and give them more stuff. However, I think it's going to be more fun just to time this out so that we can get basically a more or less optimized cycle of them dropping something and them immediately receiving a gold ingot all at the same time. And I think the area we're going to set this up is going to be right over here. As you can see, this is the northern entrance to my Nether hub, and I think this section here is going to be perfect for having some piglins lured into this area. It's a nice open space, not too much else going on. It's in a nether wastes, so we should find some piglins spawning around here pretty soon, and in the meantime I can just take care and flatten this stuff out to make sure that it's nice and straightforward for us to work here. Let me grab some of the blackstone and polished blackstone, and we're just going to be making 2-block high booths with hoppers and chests right in front of them. Nice and straightforward, nothing too complex, nothing that involves us rerouting too many hoppers and that kind of stuff. So I'm just going to build these up into 2-block high cells. We'll put 1 block there, and we're going to attach a dropper to the front of that facing downwards. So basically anytime a piglin is standing in here, the gold is going to be dropped on them immediately on top of their heads. Then we're going to take out these 3 blocks here. We'll put in a chest like so, and we'll add a hopper into the back of that, so where the piglin is standing, they're basically going to be in the hopper the entire time. Let me just check I've placed that the right way around, because sometimes I place these and they're not facing into the chests. And then either side of that, we're going to have stairs on here, stairs obscuring the dropper there, and 2 pieces of black glass in front of that, so we can see the piglin is in there. We can check the mechanism is working right, but they will not be able to escape. Now comes the tricky part, because this is the point at which I have to start luring some piglins into this thing. Maybe I'll just make a few more booths here, and then we can work on it from there. And as if on cue, some piglins have showed up over here. Let's see which of them is going to be interested in some gold ingots if I chuck them down over here. I would think that guy might pick up the bait. Yes, there we go. All right, let's see if we can lure him over to one of our trading stations, and it looks like one of his friends has decided to show up as well. There we go. Obviously, this is going to be a more expensive way of getting these mobs over here, but it's already giving us the supplies we want from them anyway, so I'm kind of okay with it. An alternative, of course, would be to make sure that you have a minecart rail set up so you can drop them in like that, or maybe even end up with boats or something like that. Maybe even aggro them if you want them to get over here nice and quickly. But if we push him into this booth, oh, he was almost there, so close. Let's give it one more try, and then we'll see if we can come up with a better solution for this. While he's consulting the gold, though, we can just place a glass block in front of there, and that guy is in there, and anything he drops is going to end up in this chest. So I think I'll probably start collecting some of that stuff in the chest now. And as you can see, he's not getting mad at me for opening that double chest, meaning that I don't think he has line of sight to me, and for whatever reason, it doesn't really register with them that a chest is opening right under their noses. Of course, I am forgetting a very important step. We've got to make sure we name tag this guy. So there we go. This guy is now Bartholomew for the foreseeable future. Welcome to the gang, my friend. You'll be joined by, hopefully, 7 others in a moment. Alright, and with that, the last 2 piglins are in. It's actually pretty simple getting them over here just by aggroing them and then throwing a gold ingot where you want them to go, as long as you don't throw it onto the hoppers where it would be automatically collected. But now we have all of our piglins lined up in here, and they are quite the bunch, standing in their booths, kind of like the Royal Scots Guard at the Buckingham Palace. Now, let's put together a little bit of a hopper clock at the end here, and I've left this too wide so that the hopper clock design will fit in here. We're going to build it on top of a wall of basalt just to create a little bit of a stylistic touch to the area. I kind of like the combination of the nether materials we've got here. I like this design a lot. So for the standard hopper clock design, we want a 6-block wide wall here. We want one section to go up at either end, and we're going to have 2 comparators facing outwards with 2 hoppers facing into each other in the center. You guys know this design. It's the Etho hopper clock. We've used it several times throughout the series, but I'll go over it here once again if you guys are unfamiliar. Here is a brand new thing, which we'll probably explore further in this update, but is worth noting. Redstone dust now creates this plus shape every time you put it down on a block with a single piece of redstone dust. You can right-click on this to change the shape back to the old redstone dot, but it will not power any of the blocks around it. The plus shape here is indicating that it's going to power several of the blocks around the outside, and that is where we want to place our sticky pistons facing inwards like so. We want to put a redstone block between the 2 of them, and then we're going to just put 9 junk items into one of these hoppers. And this clock is going to be what triggers all of the droppers around here to fire at exactly the same time. So we're going to need to run a little bit of redstone wire around the outside here and then run a repeater across to the ones on the opposite side. Alternatively, we could just have it alternate. You know what? I feel like having it alternate instead. That seems like a fun idea. Because the comparator signal out of this hopper clock is never going to be higher than a power of 1, we need a repeater to boost the signal all the way up to 15. And then what we're going to do is have the redstone dust travel down this entire row of droppers like so, and every time you hear all of them click, that is when they're going to be dispensing gold ingots to the piglins. So now with this whole thing set up symmetrically with the same thing on this opposite side, every time the hopper clock alternates, it's going to deliver a gold ingot first to this side and then to this side. And there's going to be exactly a 6-second delay, which is the amount of time it takes a piglin to consult the gold that it's holding, drop an item, and then it'll immediately receive another gold ingot. The only thing that is left to do is fill up these droppers with all of the ingots that I brought with me in gold block form. And I have thrown a couple of items into some of these chests already, just because these guys were giving me a bunch of stuff as I was running over here with them, making sure they got into the right places. So we have a few drops in some of these already, but let's see what happens when we fill up each of these droppers with a gold ingot now. Now, as you can see, the piglins on this side receive their gold ingots. They throw whatever item they want to barter for it. It immediately goes into the hopper, and they immediately receive another gold ingot. And now we have a substantial amount of stuff starting to build up in this chest. And I think this actually works super well when you run it on a timer, because the comparator output from the hopper could potentially take a little while to decrease, because you end up with stack sizes of, 36 iron nuggets is the maximum that they can throw you at one time. It is unlikely, but that will take longer to drain the hopper of its contents and then produce another signal. And sometimes the signal can last for a really long time and the timing gets a little bit out of sync. Whereas with this setup, they receive a gold ingot basically as soon as they are able to, which makes sure that the cycle goes over and over again. And besides that, it is quite fun to watch them all do this in sync. And there we go, the right side is done as well. And this side has been going for about half a stack now, so let me see what we've got. And we've actually got quite a nice amount of stuff. Obviously, we could accumulate this into a central item sorter system if we wanted to dig out some of the stuff that was really essential to us, but we have a really nice amount of crying obsidian and regular obsidian coming out here. A couple of boots with random soul speed enchantments, the iron boots there as well. A few fire resistance potions, which we could once again channel automatically into brewing stands to increase the duration, or add some splash to those with gunpowder. There's so much we can do with a setup like this. Not only that, but it is a low-key ender pearl farm, if you guys are interested in doing something like that without having to mess with endermen. Obviously, you'll be able to trade ender pearls from villagers and get them from enderman farms and stuff as well, but it is nice to have a bunch of those coming through the pipes as well, considering that you're going to need a lot of them if you want to find your strongholds in the world. Besides that, of course, if you go out and find some blaze powder to make Eyes of Ender, considering the obsidian we are getting from this, we are also looking at a bit of an ender chest factory. So that is yet another advantage of bartering with these guys. And I think having a setup like this is going to be perfect wherever you want to set up a nether base. As long as you've got some gold farming set up nearby, you can be pretty much guaranteed to have this running around the clock. And you could set it up right underneath your gold farm if you feel like spawning some piglins on the nether roof. It should be simple enough. Just make a platform up there in a relevant biome for them to spawn in, and you should have no problems at all. Personally, though, I'm going to keep this thing down here close to my nether hub so that I can stop by every so often and see how much stuff they are producing. But I think that is where we are going to leave it for this episode of the Minecraft Survival Guide. Folks, I hope you've enjoyed this extended look at the piglin mob. There are still some hidden depths to these that we might get to explore in future episodes. But for now, that's going to be it from me. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to leave a like on it if you enjoyed it. Subscribe if you want to see more, and I'll see you guys soon. Take care. Bye for now.